there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaded Path, which is located in Forest City, North Carolina. For today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make what I call the Starlight Star Bright bracelet. To do this bracelet, what you're going to need is about 42 6x4mm teardrop beads. Now the little teardrops have a hole in the very top drilled from side to side, not all the way through. You're going to need about 4 grams of a size 11 seed bead, about 3 grams of a size 8 seed bead, 15 6mm rounds, about 12 to 15 inches of beading wire, 2 crimp tubes, 2 wire protectors, your choice of class, whatever you want, 2 beading needles, I'm going to use size 12, and about 5.5 yards of 6-pound fire line. Now these materials are going to make about a 7-inch bracelet. What we're going to do is we're going to be making little tiny components first, and then we'll be putting all the components on a bracelet to make a really pretty statement piece. Now I got a little bit behind on my videos. I'd already made my color samples for this video. So what I'm going to do, I know it's really close to Christmas, but I'm going to use red and green so that you guys can see some of these colors that, I mean, they may come in good for like a Christmas in July or even Christmas next year. If you live close enough, you could be able to get these colors, you know, and get it made before Christmas, but like I said, I'd already had it done, so I wanted to show you. And also, I did a blue and green version, and I'll show you that bracelet also. So go ahead and get your materials together and we'll get started. So first things first, I have threaded the needle onto each end of about 28 inches of fire line. And I'm going to start out with one needle. I'm going to pick up one size 8, one teardrop, one size 8, and then I'm going to pick up one teardrop, and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through that one bead. Put my needles together and pull that teardrop so that it goes down all the way here to the bottom, so that my beads end up in the center of my thread. And this is what you'll have. Now, on each needle, I'm going to pick up a size 8 seed bead, and then I'm going to pick up one teardrop and cross my needles opposite ways through the teardrop. Now, when you pull it down, be careful not to get your thread caught around your other teardrops, so that this is what you'll have when you finish that step. Now I'm going to do this 3 more times. So each needle picks up a size 8, pick up one teardrop, and cross your needles opposite ways through the teardrop. And again, be careful not to get it caught around anything. One 8 onto each needle, pick up one teardrop, cross opposite ways to the teardrop, and one more time, one 8 onto each needle, and then pick up one teardrop and cross opposite ways to the teardrop. So that now, when you pull, you should have 6 teardrops that look just like this. Alright, now we have to connect them. So I'm going to pick up one size 8 onto each needle, and I'm coming out of my last teardrop, and I'm going to take my needles and I'm going to cross them through the very first teardrop that I started with, so that when you do that, you'll have a teardrop on each side, and you'll have symmetrical front and backs. So I'm going to start on the back side first. They're both identical, so it doesn't matter which one you start with. But using my needle, I'm going to come through a bead right next to where my thread is coming out. I'm going to pick up one size 11 seed bead, and I'm going to come through the very next size 8 seed bead in my circle. Pick up 111, go straight through the next size 8. I'm going to do this all around my circle. 111, and go through the 8. 111, go through the 8. 111, through the 8, and then one more time, 111, and I'll go through the 8. So that this is what the back should look like. Now I'm going to lay that needle down, and I'm going to flip it to the front. I'm going to, same thing, I'm going to go through a bead right next to where my thread is exiting here on the front. So I'm going through a size 8 seed bead. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the center of my flower. So I'm going to pick up one 6mm pearl, and I'm going to come to the size 8 seed bead opposite where my thread is exiting, and I'm going to go through that one bead. I'm going to go back through the 6mm again, and then back through my size 8 seed bead. Now once I do this, this is the side view, the front view, and the back view. So that helps you get your size 8 seed beads centered and ready to go. So I'm going to take that same needle that I'm working with, pick up a size 11, come through the very next size 8, pick up an 11, come through the next 8, pick up an 11, go through an 8, an 11, well, now don't I just have a good old hot mess there? Get that out. Okay. One more time here. Pick up an 11 and go through the 8. Alright, so far, that's what the front is going to look like. Now I'm ready to, I've got one more step and I'm ready to do that. So coming out of that last 8, I'm going to pick up 3 11s, skip the 11 in the middle, and come through the next 8. So that when I pull, it makes a little arch like that. And I'm going to go around just taking 3 11s, skipping the 11, and going through the 8. Three 11s, skip the 11, and go through the 8. And I'm going to do this 3 more times. When you finish going around, excuse me, this is what it'll look like. This will be the front, this will be the back. You want to tie your, stitch your threads to where they're exiting next to each other and tie those threads together and trim the excess. You want to do that until you have enough components made for the bracelet. For a 7-inch bracelet, it takes about 7 components. And I'll show you my bracelet. This is the teal and purple one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I've got 7 components on the bracelet here, and you'll just want to make that many. If that's the size bracelet you wear, you'll want to make that many to go around your wrist. So to start off, I'm going to be using a beading wire. This is the Soft Flex 49 strand 0.018 diameter wire. I'm going to start out by threading on a 2x2 crimp tube and a wire protector. I'll go up one side and down the other side, and take one part of my clasp, thread it in here, take my crimp and bring it back up over both wires, and I'm going to use my crimping pliers, and I'm going to put it in the back hole first and then bring it in the front hole here, and press it in the front hole. So to start off, I'm going to put on a size 8, a 6mm, an 8, and an 11. I'm going to bring those down, and what I'm going to try to do is, if you can get both wires over your beads, that's the best alternative or option. If you can't, you can trim that little piece of wire, but to me this is just the best way to do it. So I have my beads on here. Now I'm going to add my first component. There's not really a bead hole to stick it through, but if you look through the edges, you have open holes here along the whole side of your piece. So with my pearls, it really doesn't matter because you don't see a hole going through. But if you're going to use a bead that has a transparent, or a bead that is transparent like this, you'll have to pay attention because you want to see the hole going the same way as the bracelet goes and not kind of off-centered or wonky. So I'm just going to take my thread, and you can flip it over so you can see it a little better. I'm going to go through just an open space here between 2 teardrops, and if it won't go all the way through, I'm just going to stick it through and go straight through the open hole on the other side, so that when you pull it, that's what you'll have. Now pull it down to meet your other beads there, and you're ready to continue stringing. So I'm going to string on an 11, an 8, a 6mm, an 8, and an 11. Now let those fall. I'm going to take my component, I'm going to flip it over, I'm going to go through an open hole here, or an open part. If it doesn't go all the way through, just pull the wire up a little bit. And that's the good thing about using a good flexible beading wire like the 49 strand, because it allows you to be able to get that wire through there very flexibly and not mess up anything. So bring it down, and there's your next one. And you're going to continue in that pattern, adding an 11, an 8, a 6mm, an 8, and an 11, until you have all of your components threaded on. be sure to end, just like we did here on this end, with an 11, an 8, a 6, and an 8. So now I have my beads and all my components on my beading wire, and I'm to the other end, so I'm going to go ahead and thread on my 2x2 crimp, my wire protector. So I'm going to go up one side and down the other, and then take your other part of your clasp and come up inside the wire protector. Now if you're going to make this bracelet for yourself, I like to use a toggle on mine just because toggles are easiest for me to kind of put on and take off. But if you're going to make one of these to sell to somebody, I would probably use, unless you know them really well and know what size they would wear, I would probably use a a lobster claw. Now, as you can see, I left a little 11 here, so I'm going to take my flat nose plier and just bust that little bead so I don't have to take it all apart. And here we go. Now I'll go ahead and I'm going to take my crimp pliers, put them in the back hole first and press, and then come up here inside of the front hole. If I can get a hold of it here, and press it again. Now I'm good to go, so I'm going to trim my short piece of wire here since I run it through that last bead, so that now I have my finished bracelet. And here is the red and green version, and like I showed you earlier, here's the purple and teal, which I really like. This uses the new light turquoise crystal that Swarovski has out, so I really, really like this one. But it's just a really cute, fun, easy tutorial for you to do. I did do a pattern if you wanted to make earrings with it, some cute little post earrings. And yes, I know my posts are silver and my earrings are gold, but that's going to be in your ear and nobody's going to see it. So if you're one of those particular people, you can definitely do it in gold. And I've done a ring version here also. And now the ring and the earrings are in a kit to themselves, and I also have the pattern together for these, and then the bracelet is in a kit to itself. So I hope you guys enjoyed the project. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make this Starlight Star Bright bracelet. We do have the pattern and kits available at etsy.shop/off-the-beaded-path. I hope you and your family have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again next week for the last video of 2013. Bye-bye!